everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, it's been a while, but we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, you're awfully proud of this bottle.
Well, not yet. We haven't tried it yet, but I was excited to find it. We've got,
fair enough.
Bam, Woodford Reserve Historic Barrel Entry. So yeah, I don't know if I'm super proud of this bottle yet because it's an expensive one. Okay. I'm happy because I did find this. It's a rare bottle. It's a limited release from Woodford Reserve. They do their limited releases every year. They've got like the batch proof, and they've done like some weird malted ones. And this happens to be the Historic Barrel Entry bottle.
Oh, wow.
And so I was excited to find this in a small town liquor store for retail. Problem is retail is $130. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm excited about this bottle yet because I haven't tried it and I don't know if it's going to be worth
So $130, 90.4 proof.
Yes, no age statement.
We are a little out of balance in the is it good or not.
Yeah, but it's a historic bottle because it's historic barrel entry.
Side note, bottle is one of the best looking bottles I've ever seen. It's got a really cool shape. Although the neck actually gets bigger, kind of like Ben. And and so the cork like doesn't pop out, like it's, I don't know, it's weird.
And the other thing about this bottle, it's a 700 mil. So there, you're getting kind of cheated out of 50 mil on this at the high price. But anyway, let's get into the nose here, and then we'll talk a little bit about this, what it all means. It does have a really nice, rich nose. I will give it that.
I got crisp apple, very, very crisp.
Really?
As in incredibly crisp.
I'm getting those nice deep brown sugar molasses notes. Not even so much the caramel. It's like we're skipping past the standard caramel bourbon note.
Boy, I mean Honeycrisp with a little bit of the cinnamon. That's my expectation going into it.
Little spice.
Yep. Well, I'm going for it.
Nose. All right, let's do it. Cheers. First taste of bourbon for the day. So I'm going to give it two sips here.
Okay. Agreed. And I just brushed my teeth as well a few minutes ago.
Who brushes their teeth before doing a bourbon review?
Well, I had lunch not that long ago and then I brushed my teeth.
It's really nice, but it's pretty smooth around the edges. I feel like the palate isn't quite as bold as the nose was suggesting it might be.
I think I'm kind of with you there.
The flavor is really good.
It has some nice flavors. There is a noticeable, well, okay, so let's talk about this. It's not watered down to 90 proof as much as it entered the barrel at...
Well, it entered the barrel at 103, I believe they said on the website. So the reason they call it the historic barrel entry is because they lowered the barrel entry proof for this offering. Now, they reduced the barrel entry proof, but they bottled it at the same proof as the classic Woodford Reserve, 90.4. I guess the argument, there's two ways of looking at the barrel entry proof. There's two arguments, schools of thought. The higher the alcohol content, I think it interacts with the wood a bit more, and then you can extract more, flavors and whatnot. But also, when you barrel it at that higher proof, and then you water it down on the backside when you proof it down.
Which is what a lot of bourbons are.
Yep, a lot of them. You're proofing down using just pure water. Whereas if you water it down before aging it, then the water is also aged. Proof, the water is also aged a little bit. Now, it was obviously proofed down with regular water after because it went from 103 entry down to 90.4.
Well, it evaporated, so we don't know exactly where it was at.
And yeah, but at least some of that. So at least some of the proofing down took place beforehand, which means some of the more full distillate, like you said, I guess the water is technically also being aged with it. So it's not just clear, crisp water. So, but yeah, man, the nose on this is fantastic.
So now that I've had a few sips,
a little maple in there as well.
It could be. I'm still really getting apple, and it's like you could convince me. In fact, I think I've convinced myself. This drinks like a toasted barrel, like a very lightly charred type. You know, it's got kind of an interesting oak.
I'm with you on that.
So it's really good. The water is noticeable, I have to admit.
Yeah, and so I feel like we're gonna have to bring in the OG.
Okay.
It's just weird. It's right here. It's almost like we planned.
We planned it.
Bam! Regular Woodford Reserve. Also 90.4, as we said. No age statement on this, so I mean these could be the same age. And I'm really, really wondering how much of a difference this is going to actually make. Poured a little more than I probably needed.
We have to have enough for the Benny Walker special.
That's true.
We recently did a
Woodford
review,
with Woodford.
and we forgot to do the Benny Walker special.
Yeah.
And sometimes, well, I'll leave that.
So here's the thing that I'm going to mention. If you watch this channel enough, you will know that I am the self-proclaimed Brown-Forman truffle pig. When it comes to the Old Forester and Woodford line in particular. I can pick them out of damn near anywhere.
So, Old Forester, I'm with you. I don't see Woodford, I know they're, you know, corporate-wise, they're, you know, aligned. But I don't feel that their taste profile and their aroma is as distinct.
It's not. I always feel like, so Old Forester is like, if you get like a standard bourbon, Old Forester is kind of its own avenue.
Absolutely.
Woodford Reserve is about halfway there. But I feel like it's down that road in the sense that this does have a unique flavor profile that is noticeable, I think, against other bourbons. Right away on the nose, I am definitely noticing a difference.
Definitely a difference. Well, I don't know what you're noticing, but I am also noticing a difference.
Now, is it enough of a difference to warrant the $100 price hike?
That bottle's worth a lot. I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
There's a lot of glass at the bottom. So, well, I'm gonna take one more sip of the historic.
You know what this is reminding me of? And I know it's a totally different type of whiskey, but it's more like a malted, single malt, with that kind of the apple-y kind of crispness.
Really? See, I'm not getting that. I'm not finding that apple quite as much as you are. There is maybe a little bit of brightness to it, but it's almost like it's just kind of like on top of like some extra dark flavors, in my opinion.
This one, at least on the nose, is more traditional bourbon notes.
All right, let's go in for the taste here, see if this falls off a cliff. Yeah, that fell off a little bit.
I think it was on its way to being more interesting, like a lot of my stories, but then it just lost its way.
Folks, you have no idea.
You know, like it was going there. It was on the right trajectory, and then the lack of proof just let it down.
And normally I don't have that. I like Woodford Reserve.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
In general. It's a solid bourbon. It's a solid 90 proof bourbon. Readily available, most places are going to have it. It's a good, reliable one. I'm going back to the historic barrel entry. This one's got more bite to it. Now, I wouldn't say it has a ton of bite because I feel like the proof is hamstringing this one a little bit. I think this one deserved to come out a little bit higher proof, but I think maybe what they were doing is just doing an experiment. Here's our traditional normal bourbon with a lower barrel entry proof. Now, I don't know what their normal barrel entry proof is.
Yeah, me either.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it is not $100 different, for sure.
It's not, and it's been a while since I've had another Woodford product. And I've been drinking other brands of bourbon that are probably a sweeter flavor profile. This is noticeably not sweet compared to a lot of other
You think so?
styles.
It's definitely got a nice oak note to it.
It does, but there's a lot of bitterness that I'm noticing on both of these, and I'm wondering if the water really brings out kind of the harshness of the oak. it's not a negative. I mean, I think bitterness is kind of a bad word, but it actually, at times it's good. It works well in the bourbon.
Yeah, sometimes you get that bitter tannic note that actually complements it.
Yeah.
That can definitely go too far.
But I'm thinking the lasting flavor on this is a little too bitter/sour. And it's on both, but it's more noticeable on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have bought this because as a bourbon channel and as bourbon collectors, we always want to try these new limited releases.
Yeah, absolutely.
The juice in the bottle is not worth $130, you know. But if you want to try it, it's not like it's a bad bourbon that you're going to have a hard time drinking. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, honestly, in my opinion, it's a little weak on the proof.
But I feel like it's a style of bourbon that is not my favorite, and maybe it's not yours. Because
I definitely like this flavor profile.
Okay.
Well, you know how much I love Old Forester, and this is kind of leaning towards that.
Yeah, see, that's where I think it's different, is because it's not the sweetness that I normally get on Old Forester and others.
Yeah, it's a little different. So, I mean, I can't recommend it on the price, but I mean, if you see one at retail, I mean, probably going to buy it because it's rare.
Well,
and you're only
if
going to
you've
get
got
so
a
many
YouTube channel,
opportunities.
you got to buy it. I mean, you just got to buy it.
Definitely, I would recommend get a pour of this at a bar if they have one. Before you buy the bottle,
But to be honest, it's similar. It's
very similar. Yeah, it really didn't make that much difference. So if you like normal Woodford and you want it with just barely a little bit more of a bite to it, I guess get the historic barrel entry.
And I bought the 375 for, well, I don't know, 18, 20 bucks, something like that. I think they are.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I would say like a Woodford Double Oak is a way more bold
Woodford
flavor
Double Oak
profile than
at
this
$60.
one. Yeah.
It's another really cool bottle. I think they
even on a 50, they used to be like 40 something. Now they got into the 50s.
Yeah, but yeah, Woodford Double Oak is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the blend's pretty good. It just tastes like a good Woodford, you know.
Well, we're finally up to 180 proof.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. We doubled the proof.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what you need.
But yeah, something like a Woodford Double Oak, that comes across as way more... Like if they just took that and put that in a limited edition bottle if it didn't exist, that one people would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah.
That would be a truly unicorn.
Yeah, so if you're a collector, go ahead and get it. But if you're just looking for a really good Woodford drinking experience, it's not that much better than the regular one, and it's certainly not as good as the Double Oak. So
totally agree.
All right, well, this has been Woodford Reserve Historic Barrel Entry on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.